Good day, Deep in Word family. Welcome to day 245 of our Bible study review. Today we're going through chapters 15 through 18 of the book of Job. So Job's friends have already come against Job in unison, taking turns one by one, not to comfort him, but to accuse him of sin, speaking very harsh words to a man who has lost practically everything except his own life. And now they're coming for round two. Yes, it feels like a long, drawn out court case. And so now we open up in chapter 15, and Eliphaz is stepping up yet again to speak more harsh words to his so-called friend, Job. Let's start reading from verse 2 and see what Eliphaz has to say to Job. He says, "Should a wise man reply with empty knowledge and fill his lungs with the east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk or with speeches with which he can do no good? Yes, you cast off reverence and hinder prayers before Elohim." So he is accusing Job of not fearing or reverencing Yahuwah. Verse 5, further accusations. "For your mouth utters iniquity, and you choose the tongue of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, and not I. Yes, your own lips testify against you. Are you the first man who was born? Or were you made before the hills? Have you heard the counsel of Elohim? Or do you restrict wisdom to yourself alone? What do you know that we do not know?" Do you see how they're spinning this around? This is the one who has lost everything. This is the one who is seeking comfort from his friends. And because he stands up for himself, now they feel some type of way. And now they're asking him, what knowledge do you have that we don't have? This is a narcissist at its finest. Let's continue. He says, "What do you understand that is not in us? Both the gray-haired and the very aged are among us, much older than your father." Do you see this condescending language? They're saying that they're more wise and they have more years than even Job's father. So he should be wise to listen to their counsel, is basically what he's saying. Verse 11, "Are the consolations of God or Elohim too small for you, or the words spoken gently to you?" Do you feel that rising up in your flesh? Because I feel it. I want to defend Job at this point. I don't want to hear any more from his so-called friends. My flesh is rising up against these accusers. You have gently spoken to Job, gently given him counsel after he has nothing left. This is what you call gentle? Lord have mercy. I'm telling you, the flesh is rising. His friends are mind ninjas. They're mass manipulators. That's what's going on here. They say, "Why does your heart carry you away? And what do your eyes wink at, that you turn your spirit against Elohim? And let such words go out of your mouth." Let's pick up in verse 17. As you can tell, irritated with these folks. He says, "I will tell you, hear me, and what I have seen I will declare. What wise men have told, not hiding anything received from their fathers, to whom alone the land was given, and no foreigner passed among them. The wicked man travails with pain all of his days." Do you remember in yesterday's reading, Job was telling them to look out in nature, right? That everything that they were telling him was common knowledge. They had no divine counsel. And so they're coming back. They're offended at Job's response to their accusations. And so now they're saying, we have traveled about, we have seen these matters, and we're declaring it to you, that this is the wisdom we have received from looking throughout nature. Verse 29, this is what they're saying about the wicked man. And of course, they're pointing to Job as if that is him. And it says, "He will not be rich, nor his wealth continue, nor will his possessions spread over the earth. He will not depart out of darkness. The flame will dry out his branches, and by the breath of his mouth he will go away." Now we're going to walk into chapter 16, and Job is going to stand up and defend himself since he doesn't have a friend to stand by his side. Job says in verse 2, "I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all." Verse 4, "I also could speak as you do, if your soul were in my place. I could heap up words against you and shake my head at you, but I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips would relieve your grief." Job is saying, if you were in my shoes, I would comfort you. I would never do to you what you're doing to me. Poor Job. If I could time travel, I would be his friend. I would be his friend and I would stand up for him and I would tell him about Christ. I would be like, this is your future. Guess what? We're going to rule and reign in the millennial kingdom and we ain't going to have to worry about your lousy friends no more. Anyways, let's pick up in verse 6. This is Job. Though I speak, my grief is not relieved. And though I stop, how am I eased? But now he has made me weary. And he's talking about Yahweh, or in this case, they refer to him as Elohim or God. And so Job is saying he has made me weary. You have made desolate all of my company. So Job is saying Yahweh has erased all of my company because basically he has no friend, no one to stand with him and plead a case with him. They're pleading against him. He says, you have filled my wrinkles, which is a witness against me, and my leanness has risen up and bears witness to my face. Let's pick up in verse 16. He says, my face is inflamed with weeping, and on my eyelids is the shadow of death. If you have ever witnessed or you have ever gone through losing a loved one and you are crying for 7 days straight, your face, you wind up looking like Quasimodo. Just imagine Job has lost 10 kids, all of his wealth, everything. Now he's got boils all over his skin. Now his so-called friends are coming against him and he is just inflamed, right? Inflammation all over his body. He looks terrible and all he has is bitterness. He's crying out to Yahweh for justice. Verse 17, and all of this, though not for any violence in my hands, and my prayer is pure. O earth, do not cover my blood, and let my cry have no resting place. Also now look, my witness is in heaven, and my record is on high. My friends scorn me. My eyes pour out tears unto Elohim. Oh, that one might plead for a man with Elohim, as a man pleads for his neighbor. Job is like, I wish I had a friend. I wish I had someone who was loving, who would speak words that would pour out like medicine to help me heal. But I have nothing and I have no one. Chapter 17, Job is basically praying for relief. And so let's open up in verse 1. He says, my spirit is broken. My days are exhausted. The grave is ready for me. Are not mockers with me, and does not my eye dwell on their provocation? He says, all my eyes see, all my ears hear is them provoking me day in, day out, poking at me. I already am at my lowest point, and this is what they're doing. Job says in verse 4 concerning his so-called friends, for you have hidden their heart from understanding. He's talking to Yahweh about his so-called friends. He says, therefore you will not exalt them. Let's skip over to verse 7. My eye is also dim because of sorrow, and all of the members are like a shadow. He's talking about his body, all the members of his body. He says, upright men will be astonished at this, and the innocent will stir up himself against the hypocrite. The righteous also will hold to his way, and he who has clean hands will be stronger and stronger. But as for you, he's talking about his so-called friends, return and come now, for I cannot find one wise man among you. And since Job cannot find wise or godly counsel or a friend, anything or anyone at this moment, this is his question in verse 15. Where now is my hope? As far as my hope, who will see it? Will they go down to the gates of Sheol? Will we descend together in the dust? You would think at this point that Job's friends would relent, repent, have some sort of empathy or compassion on Job, but no. We see that Bildad wants to step up for round 2. Why? Because their pride is hurt. And so they just keep going in the manner of their pride. And let's read what Bildad has to say for round 2, starting in verse 2 of chapter 18. He says, how long will it be until you put an end to words? Gain understanding, and afterwards we will speak. Why are we counted as beasts and regarded as stupid in your sight? Oh, that's real cute, Bildad. Oh, that's real cute. Play the victim. Play the victim. I guess you lost 10 children. I guess you're plagued with boils. I guess you don't have a friend to stand by you. I guess this is your position. Oh, pity on you, Bildad. Let's pick up in verse 5 with Bildad. He says, yes, the light of the wicked will be put out, and the spark of his fire will not shine. Down to verse 10. The snare is laid up for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the path. He's saying, yeah, the grave is making itself ready for you, Job. Let's go down to verse 12. His strength will be hungry, and destruction will be ready at his side. Verse 13. It will devour the parts of his skin. The firstborn of death will devour his limbs. I believe he's talking about Satan. The firstborn of death will devour his limbs. This is cruel. He says his confidence will be rooted out of his tent. This may be translated of his body. And it says, and it will bring him to the king of terrors. Who else is the king of terrors? Come on, y'all. And it says, they dwell in his tent who have no part with him. Brimstone will be scattered upon his habitation. His roots will be dried up beneath, and above his branch will dry up. The memory of him will perish from the earth, and he will have no name in the street. Closing statement of Bildad, verse 21. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him who does not know God or Elohim. Y'all, don't let the old you get the best of you. I know the old you is rising up, and the old you wants to fight Job's friends. I definitely have felt that rising up in my flesh. This is horrible. This is absolutely merciless. This definitely shows that there is no spirit of love, no spirit of mercy. Their responses show that they do not know God. They do not know Elohim, because his ways are ways of peace and kindness. And although Job is being tested of his faithfulness, his friends have zero love, zero mercy, and zero counsel from the Almighty. Do yourself a favor, and if you do have friends or family like this, separate yourself from them for a season. Pray for your enemies, because they're definitely not your friends. We're going to put a pin in this court case, and we're going to return tomorrow with Job's response to Bildad. And whoever says the Bible is boring, they're boring. This is far better than Judge Judy. Deep in Word family, that's all that I have for you today. I'll see you tomorrow with some more drama for your mama. Until then, Yah bless.